For many artists, the midnight hour is the best time to paint. I would say that I'm not immune to that. I have been known to while away the midnight hours many a times. But for me, the finest time, by far, is the very early morning hours. At the time of working on this painting, I'm, I guess, waking up before the birds. It's 4:15 in the morning, and there's just some kind of a compulsion that says, time to go, time to move. There's things to do, paintings to paint, and there's some fun to be had. It's been 15 years. Hard to believe that I've been full-time in this world of art. After leaving the corporate world, the TD Bank Financial Group, and doing banking things every day, riding on the GO train every day, and sitting next to my colleagues and others who are also working in the corporate world in Toronto. Well, those days are long gone. I've always believed firmly in the principle of being there. You know, it's important to treat your art just like as if it was your job. In fact, for many artists like myself, it is our job. And that job is, well, it's not like most jobs, I grant you that. I may or may not be in my pajamas while I paint paintings. And I most certainly will have a cup of tea not far away. No doubt about it, I may reach down to scratch a kitty cat every now and then, or to rub their ears. Lord knows they sit there on the floor looking up at me with those beckoning eyes. Have you forgot us? Do you not care about us anymore? And I'm thinking to myself, it was only 5 hours ago the last time we spoke. You kitty cat, you. Alas, I have 2 kitty cats, and they both beckon. If you ever think that they're dumb, lazy animals, I'm here to tell you, you probably don't own one. Or 2. No, they've got you figured out. They've studied you. They've sat there on their little perch watching your every move, and they know exactly what you're going to do next. You see, I've come to learn that those kitty cats, they're hunters, and they size up their prey by first watching. I have this little bird toy. It's a little fluffy, feathery thing at the end of a long stick, and it really moves. And when I flap that thing around, those cats just go crazy. But they don't jump at it right away. They just kind of sit there watching it, and their little heads bob back and forth with every movement that it makes. It occurred to me one day that, well, they're probably just watching for the pattern. Because once they know the pattern, then they know exactly when to pounce. Yeah, I'm no cat expert, but after 8 years of having them around watching me every day, they know when I'm headed to the kitchen. They know when I'm going to the door to leave. Oh, yeah. They have that little glum look on their little faces when they crouch down and just sit on the floor and watch. They really have me figured out. They know my patterns. And I know my patterns too. When I paint a painting, I don't always follow the same flow. I really let my heart dictate which direction I will go. But over the long haul, over the big picture, over time, I know that I definitely follow patterns. I go through periods of realism and finer detail, and then I go through periods of just complete whimsy. Like this painting right here. I just love the way when the wind blows, the trees, they just kind of sway and dance. The branches just all kind of move in a flow, a harmonious just ballet as the clouds move behind. And what better way than to simplify a painting down into shapes? Just apply them in zones. I also really like to paint a painting in levels. So this painting was begun really about 3 years ago in the very basic form that you can see towards the lower half of the painting. And after it thoroughly dried, hard as a rock, then I approach it like I'm approaching it today, where I look at the patterns that are in front of me and I begin to apply color within those patterns. And it just begins to take on a three-dimensional look. Well, a painting can often be done in one session, and I have many. A lot of my archive is, well, very simple, short, single-session paintings. But as I flip through the archive and I look through, I know there's certain ones that are just calling for a second session or a third session or fourth or fifth. And when they call, make no mistake, they're heard. You can tell the ones that are in that category. They just have greater depth to them, greater levels, greater textures. You can tell they've been painted a few times. I admit, like any artist, sometimes a painting gets repainted just because of frustration. It just didn't turn out the way I wanted it to the first, second, or third time. Or fourth, or fifth. Well, eventually, they start to turn out. And I think I'm growing quite fond of this one right here. It feels right. It's starting to feel like those trees that I saw way up there at the top of that trail. Those trees, you know, they're survivors. Not unlike you and me in our paths in life. We come across some pretty substantial obstacles from time to time. And we can curl up and we can just let the wind blow us away. But look at those pines. You know, they grow on those rocks. And If you get up close and look at the ground and the rocks where they grow, they spread their roots out amongst the cracks. Not many roots either. They're not like a maple tree or an oak tree that spread their roots out far and wide. No, these pines, they have such slight, scant little roots that bind themselves around the rocks. They look for the soil anywhere they can find it. And come rain or snow, in Canada, storms, blizzards, even fires, they still survive. Yes, even fires. We're seeing a lot of that these days. My heart goes out to those who have lost so much. And I feel blessed that I have a shelter, that I have a place to lay my head, warm and protected. But we survive. And these trees are a testament to survival. That's why I've painted them so many times. That's kind of why I'm really intrigued and drawn, compelled by the trees of the forest. And for those of you that may not know, Canadian artist here. So, I'm greatly attached to the northern regions which have an abundance of these trees. Yep. And they are majestic. They reach up over the mountains. They grow down in the valleys. They survive through all kinds of whatever the weather can throw at them. And they remind us that we can survive too. I thank God every day for His provisions for me. It's not an easy life, this world of art. At times it's really robust and busy, and other times it's very quiet. And survival sometimes is a matter of faith, holding on, and I do. Just like those trees. I'm using a little tiny brush here. It's a fancy brush? No, by no means. I found this brush in a little kit while I was in the dollar store. No, I suppose I have some brushes in my collection that are worth hundreds of dollars, but I don't use them. Most of the time I use these throwaway brushes almost. I like the short handle, I like the way they fit in my hand, and I like the way they move with the dexterity of my fingers. I like the way they just kind of sit within the palm of my hand and between my pointer and my thumb, as you can see. They have a great little vibe, a great little fit, just like that perfect pair of shoes. They're wonderful. And sometimes I even take an X-Acto knife and snip the tail end of it off so that it's even shorter. You remember in school we used to sharpen our pencils down to a little stub. I used to love those. It'd be so great because it would fit right into my hand just like this brush does. It's a wonderful thing. I'm feeling this painting now. It definitely feels more vibrant than when I began. And because I love the flow and the dance of the clouds and the trees, the way the wind blows, I'm feeling like the music is beginning to play. There it is. What is it, a waltz? Is it a tango? Is it a jazz dance? Who knows? Liza Minnelli, where are you? Perhaps you have a dance partner here on this hill with these trees. Nevertheless, I'm feeling it. I like to create a little focal point, so I will just put some lighter tones at the top of these rocks. It's where the light hits the top of them and it just kind of glows around the trees. And it's a great little focal point because there's a lot going on. There's a big party going on in this painting off in the sky and in the trees, but those highlights, they just make things kind of come into focus towards the center of the painting, which is, it's exactly where I want your eye to go. And we're there. Now I'd like to take a moment and do a little bit of housekeeping here. If you haven't liked or subscribed to one of my videos, now would be a great time to do it. Because when you like and subscribe, that tells the YouTube gods and the Google gods and the whoever else that controls the algorithms, it tells them that you're watching. And when you like, it tells them that you liked it. And they'll show 2 more friends, and they'll show 2 more friends. And it will go on. And in that way, you can help this artist to persevere a little longer. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. It's a big help. Thank you in advance for that. And we'll see you next time right here on a live demonstration brought to you from robertmcafee.com. That's me, your friendly Canadian landscape artist and photographer these days. See you next time, and thanks so much for dropping in. It's been a pleasure. See you next time.